Oh my God, Ron, we're gonna need an intro.
Yeah, I
People
know.
are complaining. I
we've
dropped an
been
F-bomb.
You did, and people are like, "You can't say the F word."
They're like,
I'm like,
that's too spicy.
what's wrong with fart?
I don't know. I don't know, but it stinks and
I
they don't
mean,
like it.
Bill O'Reilly did. He was like, F this,
I
we'll
know.
do this effing live.
And he's a millionaire.
Yeah, he never has to worry about money again. But we said fart, and they're like, I don't want to
But
come on your show.
you know what? Here's all I can say about that is fart it. We're going live in 3, 2, 1. This is the Liberal Loudmouth, and as always, I am here with
the real Ron. I'm keeping the hat forward today.
Oh, you ain't gonna turn it backwards?
No,
What's up?
People have been giving me shit. They're like, you know how to wear a hat.
Damn. Well, maybe you should do the show without a hat at all.
I don't know, because if I do that, then people are gonna make fun of me for being bald.
Man, you gotta fuck them.
Yeah.
I mean, fart
them.
Yeah,
I mean,
fart
Tim,
those people.
You're dropping so many F-bombs. People are getting pissed off.
Yeah, they're like, man, that guy, he says too much.
Well, and here's the thing. That's what we do. And that's why I love these shows that we do by ourselves, because we can be ourselves. We can smoke, drink, cuss.
Yeah, buddy.
Whatever. We're going to say what we need to say. People are already texting me. They're like, I didn't know you'd going live today.
We didn't know we were going live. Yeah, we didn't know we were going live either.
Yeah.
What's up, Jennifer? Thanks for showing up. Yeah, and to people that don't catch our live, you can always come back and watch it later. I mean, you know, it is what it is, but there's so many things going on right now with Israel and all that. We felt compelled to do an update on it, right?
Right. And we talked about this as well. I'd like to speak on this. We have had many more liberals on the show, Democrats, than we have Republicans.
Yep.
And why do you think that is?
I honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think it's because Democrats are more willing to sit there and talk to somebody they disagree with, but I don't know that that's true, so I can't really say that.
I'm starting to think that Republicans only want to deal with us when we're trying to help them out.
Right.
I've gotten you helped Ryan Walters win the election.
And that was the only time he brought it up, even though that story had been going on. But the moment that I came out in support of him, that's when he blasted the story out, not before, only after. So I mean, and I don't know if that's what's going on, but yeah, the only Republicans we've had on were either non-elected politicians or people who are running for office.
Right. We've had like Shelley Gortney, Timothy Brooks, Stan Stevens, but these are candidates. They're not elected officials.
Right. But we may be getting John Eccles on the show.
Oh, that's so good.
Still waiting to hear back. Matter of fact, I got a bunch of text earlier. No, nothing from him. So, I mean, he's probably busy, so I'm not going to, hound dog him too much. But yeah, he did say he'd love to come on and talk about legislation in Oklahoma.
And if you don't know who John Eccles is, he is the the majority
floor leader. Yeah.
Floor leader. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
a big dog.
Yeah. He'll be terming out, and he's been there. He's been doing it since his 4th year in office. So,
and I reached out to John 3 or 4 years ago during COVID because we were trying to get the recall bill passed, and he actually authored one of those bills to get the recall process for board members that sit for 5 years.
Yeah,
and they couldn't get the criteria correct, so it didn't even come out of committee. So, but Mr. Eccles was one of those that came out and did the doing. So I'm excited to have him on if he comes on.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it did spark from a debate about Israel. And
tell him about this post. I mean, let's just blast Mark McBride.
Mark McBride had made a post about Israel and gave this kind of a rudimentary history of Israel, and I made a post about it, and then everybody kind of went back and forth, and
it was designated by Yahweh.
Yahweh, right?
Yahweh.
It was definitely from a religious perspective, which, you know, a lot of people look at it that way. I don't. I don't see it from a religious standpoint.
I don't think you can rationally look at it from a religious
No.
standpoint.
I think even religious people shouldn't look at it from a religious standpoint. This is a matter of like basic human decency here.
On both sides, though, right? I mean, we're not for Hamas, we're not for Israel. We're just like, there are people dying that don't even know what you're even talking about.
Right. And unfortunately, when you get a response from, say, Hamas to what has been going on in Palestine, people tend to forget that the Palestinians have been just shit on for the last nearly 100 years. So, you know, that gets lost on people when these, you know, attacks or whatever you want to call them happen.
I guess that's where my thing is like, we have a group of people that have lived together, warred together. They've fought each other for thousands of years. But because America is like Christian, basically Christian, we don't like Muslim faith. So we have to back the side, and we have to say we have to back Israel because they're Christian.
Right.
Yeah, or biblical prophecy, whatever. And piss on the Palestinians, whatever they believe.
Right. It's weird because when you boil it down, they're all praising the same God. Like that's what blows my mind the most, I think, is the fact that they all basically are believing in the same, it's Abrahamic religion, if you will.
But that was Mark McBride's post, was like Abraham was the
father of Israel, or a father of the Jews, or of Israel, or something. Yes.
But he wasn't.
No, he was technically the great grandfather, if you want to be specific, but yeah, I mean, and so some of the updates that we've got here, we've got Iran now is rattling the war drums. You know, they're rattling the sabers and beating the war drums. And the U.S. is, you know, responding to that. Hezbollah has declared war against Israel for what they've done. And again, Hezbollah was created after Israel had twice, not once, but twice invaded Lebanon, chasing after what they said was the PLO at the time. And then you've got this hospital recently that was bombed. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was like 100 people were sheltering at the hospital that Israel, and this is mainstream media news. You can go look at it right now. They bombed a hospital. Israel bombed a hospital where 100 Palestinian refugees were hiding or seeking shelter or whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a hospital, you know, that's where the injured go.
There's certain things you don't do. You don't bomb kids at schools. You don't bomb hospitals. And of course, that's where the terrorists or the militant groups are going to hide underneath or whatever. I understand that, but you don't bomb them just to get rid of, you know what I'm saying?
Right. There, you gotta put some limits there. I mean, that's crazy town to me. But yeah, here's this. I'm not gonna play the whole video because it's just so bad. But like, this is over 500 people are dead from this, and it possibly up to 800. Now, there's a conspiracy going around that it wasn't Israel, it was Hamas bombed their own hospital.
But this isn't in South Gaza, correct?
Yeah, this one I'm not exactly sure where it's at. But it's interesting because they're like, "Oh, this was a misfired rocket from Hamas." But there's a video of it, and I'd have to go looking for it again. But I mean, it was like a direct hit on this hospital, and it was a huge explosion. If you've ever seen a Hamas rocket explode, I mean, it like takes out a few windows, maybe knocks out a wall.
Yeah,
their rockets are rudimentary. This one just demolished this place, and there was a huge explosion. Of course, Israel claims that they were hiding bombs and bullets and stuff underneath the hospital, which, you know, they make those claims all the time. I don't know that that's true.
What what bothers me is I watched Chuck Schumer speak on the floor of the Senate today, and he was speaking as a Jewish person, and he is the highest ranking Jewish person in our Congress. But he was speaking like he had been through World War II and the Holocaust. He has been. It was like he was trying to convey that he feels the woes of the Jewish people. And I'm like, dude, you're one of the richest politicians in America. You have not ever had to want for anything.
Right.
Sit the fuck down.
Yeah, and you know, the Israelis have, you know, people have been shitting on them for a while. As we said in our very first episode that we did about this whole conflict, I've never understood it. I don't know. I can't imagine, aside from religious stuff, I don't understand why people don't like Jews. I just don't. It like I can't fathom why. But they've been persecuted and shit on. But it's almost like when somebody grows up and they've been abused all their life, and they turn out to be an abuser. It's
Right.
It's almost like that's what we're seeing here, where it was done to them. So maybe in their mind, the only way for it to never happen again is to just be completely outlandish towards the people they believe hate them.
That makes sense to me. I mean, if that's all you've known your entire life, then that's all
Right.
you know your entire life.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put this up here actually. This is from a book that was written. It says this guy here, his father Moshe had done a short jail term as a member of the Jewish underground of the 1980s, which had planted bombs in Palestinian mayors' cars and plotted to blow up the Dome of the Rock. Who gets a short jail term for terrorist actions?
Yeah, I know.
And so there were a lot of people back then in that time with the Jewish underground that had gotten, some of them got life sentences, but then were pardoned by the dad of the current president, Isaac Herzog. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
that's in Parliament or whatever their government is.
Right. So they've got a president and a prime minister, and a parliament. And but you know, the prime minister runs basically everything. I mean, he's kind of like an authoritarian if you ask me, but who, like, you put somebody in jail for terrorism and then you pardon them months later and then let them join the military and bring them into parliament and then let their kids come into, like, how do you, it's like a handbook on how do you create an extremist government.
Right. And this is what scares me before we pull up Jennifer's comment. Thank you for watching. They're leading us towards another world war.
Absolutely.
Lebanon, Iran, Syria, Jordan. I mean, it's going to kick off. There's a powder keg brewing. And now you told me this earlier about the Wall Street Journal reporting that we are going to put American troops, boots on soil in Gaza.
Right. 2,000 soldiers they're picking. And you know what? Let me pull that up. I think I tweeted it. I may not have.
For what reason would we put Americans on ground in Gaza?
It makes no sense because you're talking about, I believe Israel is like the 4th largest military in the world, right?
Right.
And so there's no reason to, before any boots go on the ground, to go in there to save them for some reason. We don't even have boots on the ground now in Ukraine. Like,
right.
But then they're gonna, so, and let me put this up here now. I've got this pulled up. This is a Wall Street Journal, and let me zoom in so everybody can read it. Oh no, this is sorry, this was a different article. Hold on. I shared so many damn things today. I don't know. I know I shared it on Loudmouth. So let me go there. I'm just trying to find the article just so y'all don't think I'm just talking out of my ass here.
And a
Here
lot
it
of
is.
people think you're talking out of your ass sometimes. So yeah.
Oh, okay. No, so okay, that was the correct article. It's just the headline, like
Oh yeah, troops for yeah. Okay.
right. So underneath here, U.S. prepares troops for potential deployment. Now, I can't bypass this paywall. I've tried, but it says it's placed roughly 2,000 personnel in range units, which increases their ability to respond quickly. No decision to deploy the forces to support Israel has been made. They aren't intended to serve in a combat role. So this is different than what it said earlier today. This is different than what it said earlier today, because earlier, right here where it started to go fuzzy, it said that the intent was to put them into Gaza. And that made me wonder. I'm like, well, are we going to put U.S. troops in Gaza first? Instead of, in lieu of the Israelis, and is Congress going to approve that? I mean, geez.
Do you think that's like a deterrent to where they're like, nobody's going to fire on American troops?
I doubt that Hamas would not fire on anybody that put their boots on the ground there. But the only reason why I come up with that, conspiracy theory is that China had recently come out with intelligence that said that there was a trap laying in wait for the Israeli soldiers when they went into Gaza, like that they were, wanting them to invade because there was some booby traps or, whatever the case is. So then my way of thinking is like, okay, then all of a sudden after that, we offer 2,000 troops. What are we going to put our troops there in front of Israeli soldiers
to start the next World War?
Yeah, and to be because the moment that even one U.S. soldier is killed by Hamas, what do you think the U.S. is going to do?
Yeah, we're going to be all over it. Me too. If you kill a U.S. soldier, then I'm 100% behind you. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
and
here's Lane. Hopefully they skip my name in the drafts. I do not want to fight a foreign war. I only want to fight for my country. That is the exact reason that I never signed up for the military. That right there.
You didn't sign up for the military?
Nope. No, I skipped that test that day. Yeah.
But you signed the card, right?
I don't remember if there was a card to sign, but I know we were supposed to go take an ASVAB test, and I ducked out of class.
No, they send you a card when you turn 18 or almost 18 that you have to sign that says you will register for the draft if you'll or whatever.
I mean, I might have, but my way of thinking is that there's been almost no war on American soil, and we constantly were going to Iraq, and see, if I'd signed up and gone to the military, I would have ended up going to Iraq.
Yeah, when was the last war on American soil?
The Civil War. No. I mean, one could argue that it was Pearl Harbor, but those planes never landed. They never put boots on the ground. Yeah, it'd have been the Civil War, and then before that, the Revolutionary War.
Wow.
I mean, I guess there were skirmishes between, the French and us, but other than that, nobody has invaded us that I can remember. It's always been somewhere like way far away, aside from the, Mexican-American wars, that sort of thing. But that, that worked itself out, I guess, eventually. But again, we were taking land from people,
right.
which was kind of the Europeans, whole ordeal is what they were doing. But now I forgot what we were saying. But yeah, I mean, Lane brings up a great point. When you sign up for the military, you are essentially becoming something of and I really hate to say this because it sounds shitty, but like a mercenary for a corporation. Because a lot of our military goes over there to secure oil resources for a company that makes private profits. And it's, it's for obviously American interests, but the people profiting off of it are private companies.
So here's the thing, and I think that this is the way that most Americans think. Most common sense, rational Americans. Why are we in the Middle East? Why are we even messing with the Middle East? Oil.
Right. Certain resources.
There are Africans in Africa killing themselves nonstop. Civil wars, just famine, but we're not in Africa.
Right. A lot of humanitarian crises everywhere.
Everywhere. But Kuwait, we're there. Iraq, we're there. Israel, we're there. Venezuela, we're all up in Venezuela.
Right.
If you can't step back from the situation and look and see what's going on, I'm sorry, you're part of the problem, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because and to perpetuate the war, going back to the Iraq war that Bush put us in, we had Osama bin Laden, they claimed at Tora Bora, and they let him go. We could have dealt with, if we assumed, let's assume for a moment that he's the one that actually conducted those strikes on 9/11, and he would have been the target. Why would you let him go?
Yeah, why?
Because they needed it to continue. I'm gonna put Jennifer's comment here.
I didn't know that. I think I remember that you served. Thank you for your service, first of all.
Yeah, and that's why I hated to say that, because I'm not trying to diminish somebody's service, and I don't want them to feel bad or like they've done less of something. The reason that a soldier signs up to go to war is absolutely well-intentioned. Nobody signs up for something like that thinking that, they believe fully and they're, backing their government and what the government is telling them to do, because essentially that's what they are. But when you think about it from like a macro level, essentially that's what we end up doing with those soldiers. And it sucks. It's bullshit.
What branch did you serve in, Jennifer?
Okay. Yeah. She said she wanted to qualify. Yeah, no, it's a shitty situation.
It's hard to have the conversations because everybody gets their feelings in.
She was in the Navy.
Yeah, she was in the Navy. What was she? She was like a chaplain? Is that what I remember?
She was going to be, but then Trump came along. She was an ass kicker at boot camp. There you go.
I bet you were.
There you go.
I know you were. But that is young kids, 17, 18-year-olds, they go in like 9/11. We had the biggest increase in our military after 9/11. Everybody wanted to join the military, and they just went in, and they're like, America, and I loved it. I mean,
it's great. Yeah, it was absolutely great. Yeah,
that's what you want from a nation, and we have came so far from that, though.
Yeah, right. And it's it's unfortunate because the people that are doing it for the right reasons, but the people that are pulling all the strings and making all the ultimate, decisions where your life becomes moves on a board or whatever, their interests are not what they proclaim them to be.
It's basically like marketing for your military. It's like,
right.
If you love America and you're 18, you have to serve.
Here's somebody pointed out on a forum that I frequent. They said, and this was like, I don't know, a week ago, before all of this, or right when all of this started, they were like, okay, something bad is happening because they're now advertising for military service, but they're using white men in their ads and no longer using trans in their ads. Because there for a long time, they were doing like the whole, diversity, equity, inclusion stuff, and had women and gay people and, that sort of thing to advertise. And then they started advertising white men again. And granted, this forum that I go to is full of a bunch of freaking Nazis. I mean, it's bad. But
didn't one of them say, like, who was it? Oh no, I watched a podcast the other day. They're like, if you're anti-Nazi, you should probably not follow me because I'm a Nazi.
I mean, there's some nut job people out there, let me tell you. And I only go to that forum for the record because these people, like, they sit there all day long and they just post shit that's going, half the time it's just crazy nut job conspiracy stuff, but every now and then they, you find that gem in there.
Yeah.
Let's see. To Tim's point, I sometimes felt like, oh, am I training these kids to possibly go to war? Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate thing, and I've seen a lot of people come back from, the Iraq war, and it fucks with them. I mean,
any war.
So you got 2,000 people you're going to put on the ground in somebody else's country for a fight that is not yours. You got to think about that. You can't just,
And that's the same way Vietnam started off. We sent over advisors.
Right.
And then we had to send people over to protect the advisors.
Right.
And then it escalated. And then it escalated. And I feel that it's fixing to happen.
Yeah. And we've been talking about this for a while. And I'm like, man, if Iran really comes at it, and fucking Hezbollah goes at it, because you've got China, Russia, Iran, several of the Middle Eastern nations would come
Lebanon,
together. Yeah, they would all come together, and you would have this line drawn in the sand, and everybody would pick sides.
Literally drawn in the sand.
Yeah, ring around the rosy and see who comes over. Or what's that where you stand, and you're like
Red Rover.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, Red Rover. Send Lebanon on over.
Yeah. Send Hezbollah on over. Yeah.
So in back to that hospital, there's a lot of propaganda out there, y'all, and it's coming from both sides. You can't believe shit. Really.
I mean, shit.
I wish I could say, yeah, this is for sure, this, but so is it possible that Hamas bombed their own thing? I mean, I suppose anything's possible.
Well, we've been getting messages from legislators, politicians, from the left and right. This is why this is fake. We've been getting videos of fake babies, and it's like nobody can believe anything unless you're there to see it. I don't want to hear about it.
And then, and if you go on Twitter, you'll see a video and you're like, oh my God, that's terrible. And
Twitter's the worst.
And then you see underneath the video where somebody has fact checked that, and it's like, no, that was a video from like 2017 or something. And it's exhausting because from here, there's no way to know what's, they could show you a video of a rocket and you wouldn't know who the hell sent it unless you saw where it came from.
I could have taken a picture today of a plane that was leaving a chemtrail up in the sky in Tulsa and said, oh my God, Hamas just bombed this hospital, or oh my God, Israel is bombing America.
Right. And then people would be like, oh my God. And they would go nuts. So yeah, I mean, but
you have to do your own research.
But in terms of like, who is more likely to have bombed that hospital? It's not Hamas, because Israel has, for the last like 4 days, they've been out there telling the people in one of the hospitals, not that particular hospital, but in one of the hospitals, to leave because they were going to bomb it. For days, they kept pushing the deadline back because the doctors were like, we're not leaving.
Here's one of my biggest complaints is Israel says, go south, get out of Gaza. But Egypt is not letting anybody in.
Right.
Where do you go?
Right. Where the hell do you go? And then it get, one of the hospitals down there. I think it's down there, maybe central, but then it gets bombed. And then they blow up buildings and stuff that's in the area where they're supposed to be traveling to.
So now you have like over 1 million people in this little bitty, like, probably 2 square mile area. Where do you go? What do? You have no food, you have no water, you have nothing. You have women and children that are just trapped. And
they're just raining hellfire down on you because they claim some terrorist was in some building somewhere. And I'd love to know how they know where all these terrorists are. Because they claim that they hide among the civilians or whatever. How? How do you know that?
And then you have these little bitty kids, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. They're going to remember this, Tim.
Right. You think they're going to love Israel when they grow up? You think the Israeli children are going to love Palestinians when they grow up?
And where is the world? They're on Israel's side.
Yeah, most of the governments are. And I mean, you can trace it back to the Hamas attack and say, Hamas started this, but at the same time, it's like when you're subjugated and shit on and mistreated and abused, and
do you know who James K. Polk was?
The president?
President, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how we got Mexico?
I believe we took it.
He sent a recon team down to the Mexican territory in Texas, and this is factual history. The Americans fired on Mexico, and Mexican troops fired back, starting the Mexican-American War, which validated Polk
Right.
to have the war and take the territory.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
This is very well documented.
Right. And it's rinse repeat. They do the same shit over and over again.
This is here in America.
Right. Well, I'm saying that you put yourself in a situation to get shot at or whatever.
Right.
And then, so Americans, we now have 2 strike groups in that area, and we're about to put 2,000 soldiers on the ground. And they say, oh, well, we're not sure yet. Bullshit.
If an American soldier gets an earache, we're going to take the Palestinians.
And we're going to declare war on them. Yeah. So it's, it's a Lusitania situation. It's a Gulf of Tonkin situation.
Yes. Remember the Maine. Yeah. We sunk our own ship. It was an accident. It blew up by itself, but we're going to blame this so we could take it.
Right.
And American soldiers got killed in the Mexican-American War, but they weren't supposed to fucking be there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, imagine you go to somebody's house on their property and they tell you to leave and you say no, and then they shoot at you, and then you get mad and say, well, now I have a reason to raise the whole place.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
And I've got a bigger army than you do.
Right. And might makes right.
Right.
Apparently is what we think. But it's actually now it's getting to the point where it's going beyond, is Israel right, or is Hamas right, or is it this or that? Now we're getting to the point of World War III. I mean, we're on the verge of
We're there. We're right there.
Yeah.
Mark McBride and all these legislators from New York to Oklahoma, they're all like, we got to be on the side of Israel because that's what the Bible says.
Right. And it's there's no slowing down to it. We need people like the U.S. We need allies to just flat out tell them, look, you need to stop. You have the bigger army. You have more technological capabilities. You have the fucking Iron Dome, for Christ's sake.
And the UN has even said this is an impossible, it's a humanitarian crisis. Stop.
It is. Right. It's like, okay, we get it. You fucking flattened half of Gaza because they came over and attacked you. I think you've responded.
Right. Yeah, you've made your fucking point.
Right. At this point, what you're fighting against a very rudimentary militia of the Palestinian people that I mean, they have no way to really fight a war. There's no way that Hamas could ever take the Israeli troops. But if they keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, they're going to start a war with Iran. They're going to
Russia, China. Yeah.
They're going to have to get involved because Iran is not a country that will just roll over and die.
Here's the thing. I can't stand Iran because of the hostage. And I think they're a militant regime. I think they're a horrible people. because that's the way I was raised to believe. I don't know a bunch about Iran, but I know that I've seen videos, death to Americans, burn the American flag, this and that. But Iran has the capability to fuck some shit up before before we take them out.
They do. They're not a nothing nation. I mean,
Right,
this isn't Iraq. Okay. Iran is not Iraq.
right.
Iran is not Kuwait. It's not, it's not fucking North Korea. I mean, Hezbollah by itself is a force to be reckoned with.
It really is.
I mean,
really is.
they're also a militia group, but they're better trained than Hamas would be. They have more munitions. They have more capability of, hit and move, because that's what they have to do. It's guerrilla
They've done
tactics.
it forever. That's all these people know on both sides. That's all they fucking know.
Yeah, it's so to anybody, I get that you're upset with Palestinians and Hamas and whatever the fuck, but now we're playing with the different kind of fire here. This is like, if you want nuclear war, maybe this is the way to go about it.
Well, back to Lane's point, we're talking about sending our boys and girls into a foreign land about a book that was written 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, it's messed up.
It's stop and think. Call your leaders. I mean, if you're that into the religion, I mean, Jesus, come back today. Let's not kill everybody. Just come back today, Jesus.
It's not gonna, and I've lived through, and also you have too, countless of these incursions.
Oh, absolutely.
Israel and Hamas and Palestine, and it's been a never-ending story. The whole peace in the Middle East, that's a saying for a reason, because they've been doing this forever. But this one is different.
This one feels different. It's going to be different, I really think.
Yeah, and even if it isn't, it certainly feels that way. And people need to start just paying the fuck attention, because I think this is, and hell, it could even be that this has been planned out to happen in this way for a long time. I mean, some conspiracy theorists believe that.
Bring up Jennifer's last two comments, because these are great.
Let's see. Over there, the entirety of their lives is religion, not just Wednesday, Sunday. I mean, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, they live it. They breathe it.
Yeah.
This is all they do. Who is it?
Yeah.
Abdel.
What's
Thanks
up,
for
Abdel?
watching, man.
Yeah, free Palestine. I agree. But at this point, I want everybody to quit, because otherwise it's going to turn into a fucking global bloodbath, and nobody's going to win. Everybody will lose.
Let me ask
Everybody
Abdel,
will
because he's our people. He's like, fuck Israel. That's fine. I'm not like fuck Israel, but are you like free Palestine, or are you Hamas, I guess?
Well, I mean, as I've said before, Hamas is the militia of a group of people that have nothing because Israel won't let them.
Right, but Hamas is pretty bad, Tim.
Well, okay, think about if somebody had invaded the U.S., right? And obviously we have soldiers and stuff, but the first line of defense are the militias that are on the ground, all the people that would get together, and they may not be trained necessarily in the art of war, but they would do what they do, which is guerrilla type tactics, the militia, to fight off some community thing. That's all we used to have. And our soldiers of, the 17 and 1800s would be considered terrorists today.
Yeah, that's true. Because
it's a rudimentary.
We didn't fight fair according to the British during the Revolutionary War, because we were considered guerrilla warfare, because we hid in bushes and we surprised them and stuff like that. So
and they were still like, okay, everybody, line up and fire your volleys. And whoever has the most, volleys, I guess, or lines of troops is the winner. Like, that's okay. That's
a good point. That's a good point. I got to give it to you. That's a good point.
You do what you have to do, and that's what Hamas is doing. They're fighting with the only thing they have. And
Abdel, I'm glad you came on here. I don't know who the hell you are, but I'm glad you came on here. Where are you from? Can you tell us where you're from? You're not in fucking Israel right now, are you?
Well, I sure hope not.
He says he's free Palestine. He's not Hamas. He's free Palestine.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe English isn't his first language, and he's just,
and maybe it's a she. I'm not. I don't know. Sorry, bro. He called me a bro, so he's
okay.
a dude.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, it's to our audience, guys. Really, I don't care what side you're on. It's fucking time to quit. Like it's
quitting
time to quit.
It's quitting time because
And we should
fixing to get bad.
Yeah, we should push our federal government to stop the rhetoric and to tell Israel to quit. You've fucking made your point. At this point, you're just flattening an area of people. That's
right, and like, history will remember that.
And so with the
regardless of your Bible, regardless of your religion, history is going to remember that Israel went in because it was prophecy, or because it was the Holy Land, or because God told them to, or whatever. They're the chosen people. History will remember this long after y'all are gone. Right.
Yeah, and it brings up Israel attacked the hospital. Yep. I mean, hey, there's claims that it was Hamas, but I call bullshit to that, because Israel had been saying they were going to bomb one of the hospitals. So if you're willing to bomb one hospital, I don't know why anybody would be like, well, yeah, but they wouldn't bomb that hospital. They just bombed the other one.
That was Hamas.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic, Abdul, but yeah. I don't know who this dude, or I don't know who this is new.
I can feel the passion in this person.
It feels like FBI is trying to shut us down here, Tim. I don't know.
No, it's probably somebody that did a search for Israel, Palestine, or World War III from the title. And
came that's what
our
you
video. And then, this person probably doesn't speak much English.
And I thank you for that, Tim. If y'all don't know, Tim does all the producing, does all the graphics, he basically does everything. I get a hold of people, but Tim got a hold of John Eccles today through a thread. Y'all were having a conversation, right? About Israel.
Yeah, about Israel. Yeah. And
it was John, he knew us. He's like, oh, I do know y'all. I would love to come on your show. So maybe that's
not to speak about this issue.
Right. We're not. Yeah.
I don't blame him for that, but he has a show on Sundays. I think it's in the morning.
Yeah,
on Channel 6.
It's kind of like this show, but they only give like a little bit of time to answer questions, where we give we're not limited.
Dunnington and Eccles, and then a Democrat and a Republican, and then they get them like 30 seconds to answer a question. I told Eccles, I'm like, dude, if you ever get a question that you're irritated that you can't fully answer in 30 seconds, you're welcome to come on the show with John, and y'all can hash that out, or we can all talk about it. That's
Abdel. Abdel he just lost you.
Yeah, I love Trump. I mean, everybody's nobody's perfect, Abdel.
You just lost him.
No, he's
cool, but I think you voted for Trump once, didn't you?
Now I know for a fact that Abdel is a Russian bot. I'm just kidding.
That's a great comment.
Please don't blow me up.
Kablooey. I love black people.
Wow.
Tim, I got to get off here. I got to go to a special board meeting at Warner Town Council at 5:30. So I got to get off here. But,
oh shit! Is that where they're going to put they're going to vote for the people?
No, that's they're doing a special board meeting at Warner tonight for they're hiring a some type of city receptionist, town clerk type position.
Oh, okay.
So I just have to show up. Yeah, it is tonight. So
you're going to stream it?
No, I'm not going to stream it. No.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a 3 or 4 minute meeting, but Abdel, I said Abdul. Oh, damn. I wish I could take that back. Abdel Paris. I think that's a fake account. I think you're fake.
Yeah, it's probably a Russian bot.
Yeah, because he loves Trump.
Right. Anyway, well, since that's all you've got, Ron, that's all I've got, guys. We just kind of wanted to give you an update and let you know
quick.
Shit's
real quick before I get off. John Eccles, we're trying to get him on. We've got a commitment. We got to get the date and time together, and then he does not speak English. Yeah.
No, no Russia. Okay, all right, you're good.
Yeah, you're good. We don't like Russia around here at all. And then we have Austin. What's his name? Austin Jones.
Austin Jones. Yeah, you're gonna work the date out for that, right?
Yeah, Austin Jones is
All right.
coming on after November 4th, and then I'm going to try to get Chris Manning to commit.
Okay. Yeah, we
I
can set a
think
date for
I
that.
think we need to get Chris on here.
Yeah, and thank you, Jennifer, for showing up. We appreciate it.
Jennifer, you have the greatest comments most of the time.
Yes.
You
And
really do.
I didn't get to this one. Decent read about what's going on. So if you didn't see that, go check out that link, which I'm going to do after the show.
Yeah, that's probably a good link. I'm gonna do that too. So Jennifer is a great resource. She's kind of like Tim. She reads, she researches, she knows some shit. Tim does too. I'm just here for looks, basically. So yeah, I did say most. Most.
Got it. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time. Oh, and one last thing, Ron. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We are going to try and tack down a specific time and date for every episode, and we're going to try to stick to that.
But tell them why. Because we're going big time.
Yeah, and I think you may even say our dress change a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to tighten it up. We're trying to do the doing and do it right. But we're not going to stray from our witty banner, I guess. But
right, we want people to take us seriously, and wife beaters don't do that, or backwards ball caps.
One of our one of our guests recently said, so many people told me not to come on here because they didn't want to lead credence to your show.
Okay, now I'm going to put this up here. You fuck off with that, man.
Yeah, man, you can fuck off with that. I love black people, dude. You're a bot. You're a troll.
What the hell? All right,
I wish I could find out who your mother was, because I'd take her out and fucking have fun with her, man.
All
dude,
right.
God damn.
I know it's the people. Anyway, all right, we will catch everybody next time, and we'll keep you updated with those details. Be sure to like us on Facebook and on YouTube. All right, we'll catch you later.
See ya.
Peace.